Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, depending on where you are. This is the Roaming Prepper channel, and today I want to talk about this new thing, monkeypox. It's all over the news. People are starting to panic about it. They're like, oh, new COVID. But is it really? Let's challenge the science today and have a conversation about this monkeypox stuff. I'll be right back, and let's see what I found out. Welcome back, everybody. This is the Roaming Prepper channel. I'm your host, Pete. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you have any questions at the end of the video, if I can't address them in the Premiere chat, I will try to address them in the comments below the video. So, monkeypox. Right now, you keep seeing it on the news. They keep saying, oh, the monkeypox is here, the monkeypox is out, monkeypox, monkeypox. What the hell is it? Well, basically, according to what I found out, so in 1958, a lab in Europe saw an outbreak of this pox in the monkeys in the lab. So here we are again, for the second time in about 3.5, 4 years, that some illness that they were screwing around with in a lab gets out into the public and causes problems. Now, they did say they did see some cases amongst the animals in Africa, and the first human report wasn't until 1970, so it was about 20 years later, a little less than 20 years later. Now, the monkeypox is essentially a variant of smallpox, but it is a less lethal, less virulent version of smallpox. Smallpox, as you know, was largely eradicated due to the old vaccination and hygiene processes that they came up with years ago. So now we have a bunch of cases all over the world. So I printed this map. Sadly, it got cropped off, but as you can see, the US has one of the bigger circles on it. It turns out that big circle actually represents only 2,800 people, 900 of whom are in New York, another 800 are in California, specifically in Los Angeles and San Francisco. So if you look at it that way, basically 3 cities account for over 50+% of the cases in the US of A, and then you have others scattered throughout the states. For the most part, they've been able to trace a lot of it back to people who had traveled. It came to the USA via that person, but the symptoms do not expose themselves for up to 2 weeks. So this individual or these individuals who traveled then went and had either close individual contact, shaking hands, touching, sharing utensils, or sexual contact. They did say there was a large cluster involving the gay community, gay men's community in Canada, and there was another one in New York. They're saying that seems to be one of the ways it spread was through sexual intercourse with repeated and different individuals, you know, not just like a monogamous relationship, regardless of whether it's gay or straight. It's people who are in a sex circle. One even admitted to being in an orgy. I don't know what to say if you're being a hoe and you're gonna get a cootie. I just don't know what to say to that. And I mean, understand, I'm sympathetic that these folks, men and women, now have the pox. Now, one interesting thing, looking at the Texas stats, you know, there's a handful of folks, about a few hundred in the state of Texas that have this pox. Only a handful are female. So it seems to be hitting a male populace, and then there are a handful of kids. Now, it does get traded off by close intimate contact. So even if you take the sex thing aside, if I have the pox, if I'm showing lesions, or maybe it's in my spit and we share a glass, we share utensils, you can get it. Other than that, it's not a terrible spreader. It's not like the German measles, which would literally hang out in the air in a room for an hour or two. You know, that's even worse than the Rona, because Rona, you have to be kind of close regardless. This stuff would stay in the. It was well documented. That stuff's pretty lethal. Anyway, so I got this article. We took off of. Let's see where I got it from because it chopped off the Associated Press. And this one's called Voices. I'm an expert on infectious diseases. Here's the truth about monkeypox. This individual goes on to state that, and they say, as an infectious disease epidemiologist, I've received many inquiries from colleagues and friends about the monkeypox pandemic. Essentially, it says, is monkeypox an epidemic? They said to meet the criteria for a pandemic, it must be in multiple continents, and it must be in a suitable number to where locally it would be considered an epidemic in that one country if it was by itself. But you take the two together, and now you have what they're referring to as a pandemic. So they are declaring it a national or a international health concern, but at this juncture, not really yet anywhere near as bad as the other stuff we were dealing with. A disease is considered to be pandemic when two separate conditions are met. Cases are occurring globally, and the number of cases being diagnosed is large enough to have qualified as an epidemic in the local area. So this is just now getting to that point. But again, we're looking at 2,900 people, and the contact tracing has been very precise on this one. Unlike the Rona, which kind of spread more respiratory and it was a little harder, this one's almost to the point where they can say, well, who were you intimate with, touched, shared utensils, etc., and they can contact trace pretty quick. According to this scientist as well, how worried should you be about monkeypox? Pathogens like monkeypox are usually spread through touch and other type of close contact with an infected person. Epidemiologists worry much less about pathogens with person-to-person transmission than they do about respiratory viruses like influenza and the Rona, which can spread through air. So I don't have to touch you. You can say, oh, I'm sick, but if you're close enough to me in a room without good airflow, I could still contract the Rona. The monkeypox does not work like that. It's much less contagious than circulating strains of the Rona. Less deadly than the Rona, and the case fatality rate during international outbreak is less than 1 death for every 1,000 adult cases. Thus far, there have been very few deaths related to the monkeypox. So not something to be worrying about. I'm more agitated that, once again, we've got a freaking lab-created illness that has gone out in public. As far as Texas specifically, my fellow Texans, most cases are in North Texas. 89 in North Texas, 51 in Houston, which makes sense. It's the third largest city in the country. 36 in the central region, and 6 cases in San Antonio, 1 in the Panhandle. Overall, 2,800 confirmed cases in the U.S., which I said earlier. So males and young adults are getting it the most. Texans in their 30s are the biggest group with the illness, making up 76% of monkeypox cases. Young adults from 18 to 29 are the second largest group. So you can get it through personal contact. You can get it from animals, but only. But it's unusual for American animals to get it because there are no monkeys here. So a human or a transmission would have to occur. It is noted that African rodents can play a bit of a role in the spread in Africa, so it's conceivable that rats here in the States could transmit, and the rats transmit all sorts of nastiness, so that's not surprising. They did reiterate, and this was from, sorry I didn't give you my reference there, this was from the Dallas-Fort Worth News, the Telegram in Dallas. And yeah, and the illness, fever, headache, muscle aches, both articles recommend that the risk is minimal. So I got it from both a local source as well as a international source, and then I also cross-checked the CDC because sometimes the CDC doesn't tell you everything. And truthfully, this is a contact spreader. Now, they do recommend vaccinations, and this is the old style vaccine where they actually took the whole damn virus and they either weakened it or killed it, and that's what you get injected with. If you're traveling overseas in a country that is having a problem with it, yeah, they recommend it. It's the same thing if you go to South America, you should get yellow fever shot, or Caribbean, you get a dengue shot. You know, it's just, these are old vaccines. They've been around. They work pretty effectively. But they said right now you don't need it. They do recommend if you have an immunocompromised system, you may have been exposed, or you've traveled overseas and you're not sure, go to a doctor, get the blood work done. They can try to give you the shot even if you've been exposed. And if you time it right, you actually may not get it at all or get a minor case. So anyway, the vaccine's not 100%, but it just kind of mutes the effect, but not necessary. So folks, no need to freak out on this one. Double check your science. You know, we had a very famous scientist in America say, well, attack on me is attack on science. I call bullshit. As an engineer myself and being surrounded by doctors and all sorts of scientists, I will tell you that some of the best creations that were made were when one person said, look what I found, and the second person said, I'm going to challenge your shit. And they tried to replicate it or make it better, and they went over that science and they challenged it and found something new. So always question the science. Don't listen to people on TV who say, don't question me or don't question science. That's just fucking arrogance from overeducated people. Go after it. Challenge it. I went through multiple sources. I had a few others I didn't even go into. So in any case, guys, that's it for this one. Monkeypox, not supposed to be a big threat. They're not freaking out about it. They're just saying, be careful. Don't sleep around. Don't be a hoe. But if you have traveled, if you have been exposed to a friend or someone who may have gone overseas and went into the woods and on a safari and got exposed to monkeys, possibility. You may want to talk to your doctor and consider it. Other than that, breathe easy. Keep doing what you're doing. Everyone relax. And I will see you on the next one. God bless, Godspeed, and you guys have a good time. Be safe.